Happy Halloween!
I'm Chloe.
I'm Cosette.
And this is the 14 Steps Away podcast.
Welcome back. We're not going to waste any time. Let's jump into some updates for this week. My biggest update, most exciting. We accidentally got a kitty the other day. Just kind of on accident.
Just an accident.
Just a little bit. We got a little fluffy orange kitty named Spike, and he's perfect. And he's the perfect addition to our home. And I love him so much, my heart could explode. Unfortunately, he is another boy. I've been overrun by boys. I have 4 in this house.
Oof.
Uh-huh.
I have 3 in mine.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I can't have another boy. And yet, he was just perfect. It had to be him. Because he had just the right amount of energy that I knew he'd work well with the dogs. And he's been perfect so far. And the little bit of seeing each other and smelling they've done. Not visiting at all, but just like walking him around. He's not been a scaredy cat at all. It's been perfect.
First time cat owner.
Yes.
First time cat owner.
Good. Mostly because I didn't have to study. Well, I did study, but I was able to study at my own pace. Because when we got him, I knew I wouldn't have to know all the little like things to pick up night one. I just made her do it.
That's what I'm here for.
Cat
enthusiast.
We're going to Walmart. Tell me what he needs, and we're getting it. And it was very easy because obviously I know basics, like the random things he'd need. But
they're pretty easy.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that much, but it was a lot easier not having to go through the like learning brands. And I definitely wouldn't have got the 2 little scent things. I would not have known to do that.
Very helpful.
Yeah. But he's an angel. I did not grow up with cats. And so obviously dogs and cats are smart in their own different ways, but it has been such a crazy experience because they are like, I guess it's instincts are just stronger. And so he just came home knowing how to use the litter box. Genius. He just he doesn't chew on anything or like hurt anything. And I know that the scratching will probably come, but he's just so smart. Like, how does he know to use a little scratching pad? He's just a genius. I don't know. I just love him so much.
Cats are so smart.
And so smart. He just came ready. It was like he was already equipped with everything he needed. Dogs, they can learn so much, but you have to do it. He just came home and like I can leave and he's fine. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah. Don't have to run off of his schedule or anything.
No. It's been so nice. So biggest update would definitely be our family grew by 1.
Yeah. Me and Adam were on our way to
the
local pet store.
Yeah.
Because they had told us that there were these little puppies there, and we're like, we're just gonna take a look. We just love to look whenever there's puppies. We went to look, and we bumped into these 2 in the hall.
And I was like, where are you going?
And needless to say, we both left with animals in our hands.
Yeah, on accident.
Like,
we didn't plan to go there together. It was just like, oh, okay, well, we want to go too. And I did think they were closed because it was a Sunday. I thought they were closed on Sundays. And they were not. And so I was like, yeah, I don't know. The 4 of us piled into the car and came back 6 of us.
Yes, it was so sweet.
Yeah.
I will say we just picked up a puppy for Adam's mom. So it was kind of a surprise for her, and she was so excited. She cried.
So sweet.
It was so sweet.
Yeah.
She's obsessed, which is just perfect. I felt better knowing that the weight of a new pet wasn't on my shoulders when I left. I was just excited.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my God, 2 new babies, and they're not mine.
Yeah. True.
But I was excited for you guys.
Yeah. I thought it was so strange because I have obviously went through the process of getting 2 animals before, and they always ask so many questions.
Yeah.
About adopting or getting another pet, or where are you living? Like, what animals do you have? Are there kids in the home? So many questions usually come when you get a new animal. Silence. And also, they knew we were there together. So, I thought it was even more bizarre that they had no questions, knowing that, we were there with another couple that was already getting a dog.
Bringing home a puppy and a kitten in the same car.
In the same vehicle. No concerns.
No questions.
Didn't ask if we had anything at home.
Yeah. They said, I assume you guys are leaving together?
So.
It definitely, and there wasn't a worry. Yeah, there definitely wasn't any concern about what other animals you had at home, how well they would react together.
Nothing. No, prepping.
Yeah.
Usually they tell you, okay, if you have these animals, introduce them at this time, and, certain behaviors based on, how the pets you already have, how they act.
Yeah.
They tell you how to treat the new animal coming in. Nothing.
Yeah.
No questions. It was so bizarre. When we got in, I think Adam was like, that was weirdly easy.
I know, I was kind of
Yeah,
concerned. I was
it was very
if I
strange.
didn't know and trust the 4 of us, that would be concerning because
Yeah,
it's
'cause you could just go in
so
and get
easy to go
one.
get a pet. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Also, and I guess that maybe there's not rules on this kind of thing, but we had bought our dog from the same place, you know, 6 months prior or whatever. And like they know, they have that on record. Was it not concerning to them that we were buying another puppy 6 months later? I don't know if there's no rules. I guess it doesn't matter as long as we're loving owners, but
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Hey, so everything good?"
Is it going well with the first puppy? Like, is he
Brand new one
showing
right
like,
now?
yeah, is he showing signs of like needing a friend? Like, I
Mhm.
would have a lot more questions.
Yeah,
But
I
no.
would too, but especially because I've like rescued pets before, and that is a way harder process.
Yes.
The rules and like restrictions are so. We literally told them that our other cat died so that we could adopt my current cat.
No, it is,
'Cause
and
they were
like
like,
they
they weren't
force
gonna let
you to
us.
bring them in for like
Yeah,
meet and greets and stuff when
Mhm.
you adopt.
and
But yeah.
that kind of stuff is interesting. How many like how strict they are. They should be, but
Mhm.
at the same time, it's like these are animals who like
That
need
need a home.
homes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is strange,
very weird.
but yeah. So everyone
Mm.
welcome Spike to the family. He's perfect. Maybe I'll put a little picture in
Oh, yeah, you
and you
should.
can be obsessed with him because I am.
Our second biggest update of the week that is not as happy
Oh,
and is weighing on our hearts, our
heavy.
everyone's hearts,
Everyone's
America's
hearts. Yeah.
the death of Liam Payne.
Yeah.
That was shocking.
Yeah.
I was at work. I just got a text.
I think I was sitting right there.
Wow.
Like, I'm pretty sure I was sitting right there whenever I turned my phone over and Adam said,
Yeah.
yeah. Adam broke the news to
Yeah.
me because I was working. So I I wasn't on social media or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was shocking,
Mhm.
but he struggled for a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just hard because I feel like all the other celebrities that have passed, I haven't been as maybe connected to because they were ones that like were obviously very famous and like I knew about, but
Mhm.
when it's someone who like you grew up watching and listening
Yes.
to, that's a very
what I
different
saw
thing.
a lot of people talking about how it's like it's kind of the first of one of our age, like
Yeah.
foundational people like during growing up.
Right.
Yeah. I will say I didn't really get into One Direction till late. Um so I mean I did. I did get into it, but it was like I feel like I hit my One Direction phase like honestly after
Mm-hmm.
they went from 5 to 4.
Really?
Yeah.
There was only one album at
Yeah.
that point.
I think that's when I like kind of started listening and then obviously I mean I knew songs
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
like wasn't like
Yeah.
a heavy hardcore fan or anything. And then I definitely loved One Direction and then we had all of our One Direction love in high school.
Right.
That was beautiful. I don't know. My connection I wouldn't say is as deep as a lot of people that are feeling heavy feelings about his passing, which is very sad of course, but a lot of people like really
Yeah.
found like really grew up with him and that's like
Yeah.
when you're like 7 and that's who you love, like it's
I was
hard,
gonna say,
yeah.
and I'm not trying to be insensitive at all, but I definitely feel like as I reflected on it, I was mostly sad for not even like, him of it all, like him passing. As brutal as that might sound, it was mostly just like I feel for the people in his life. So
Yes.
the people that were close to him growing up. So, obviously his child and his parents and everything, and also just his, I mean,
Like his existence
yeah.
will leave behind.
yeah. Did you
the
see
loss, yeah.
Simon Cowell's? Ooh, that was rough.
Yeah.
Simon Cowell, Louis, that was a really tough read too. But
And then the fact that One Direction posted, rough.
that was real rough.
Real rough.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah. I should have went back and looked at what this other TikToker that I saw posting
Mhm.
about it. Because one was Tara Lynn. She is the bird lady. That's the best way I can describe her. I don't know. She's the we finna be in the pit.
Yeah.
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 Her and her birds and like she has like 8 cats or something. I don't know. Her. She was definitely heavily posting about it. And there was so much hate in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can't remember what the other one was. There were 2 that were like very much expressing their feelings about it. Maybe it was Olivia O'Brien actually. Which she's music, not really TikTok. But
I saw another TikToker too, and the comments were a lot of
they're
hate about
so
it.
hateful.
And I was very confused because I just don't understand what the point of that is. Like, how
Yeah.
is that helpful?
Like if they're obviously upset, I don't understand why they can't just scroll, I guess.
yeah, just move
Just
past it.
don't hate
And, like, if
if
you're not
they're already
affected
upset.
and
Yeah.
you didn't care about One Direction, you didn't care about Liam, whatever, that's fine. Who
Yeah.
cares? But, like, just don't,
Mhm.
like, interact
Just
with
don't
it.
say anything, yeah.
Yeah.
So, my next update is just a reflection on some birthday celebrations. My husband's birthday was yesterday, actually. We celebrated all day on Saturday so that we could do a full day because we both worked on Monday. And so we opened presents and went to lunch and all of that. But we went to go see Smile 2. I'm not a scary movie girl, ever, really. I like a good thriller. Some of the A24, like, kind of thriller. That they're still, like, creepy, but they're not, like, scary. He wanted to see it for his birthday, and I'm perfect and amazing, so I was like, absolutely, we can. And I brought a coloring book to entertain myself, because I was like, this is gonna be really heavy. I haven't seen Smile, just one, and I wasn't planning on studying. I was just gonna go in, be a trooper, and it was gonna be fine. And I brought a coloring book, so I was like, if this gets scary, I can color in my coloring book. And I found one at Five Below when we were getting snacks, and it was, like, right by the checkout, so I was like, oh, I should get that. But it was a kid's coloring book. And
Something to lighten the mood.
so, yeah, exactly. Something to lighten the mood. I just needed, like, if I'm like, oh, this is getting a lot, I'll just color. Because there's not much you can do,
Yeah.
obviously,
To, like, avoid
to,
it.
to, like, entertain yourself. But I was like, I probably have enough light for this. I guess it did just come out. I don't know why I expected there to be more open seats than there were. But someone sat next to me. And coloring in my My Little Pony coloring book. Even if I didn't know this person, it was just going to be humiliating. But it was really scary. And the whole time I was, like, covering my mouth, just, like, antsy, I guess, that there was going to be a jump scare that would make me, like, and I didn't want to make noise, obviously, at the movies. I didn't think I was going to scream or anything, but it's just, like, the jump scares were terrible. I don't like movies that are, like, you can't tell what's real and what's fake. So
Yeah.
it gave me the heebie-jeebies, because, like, I feel like after the first, like, third, it's like you don't know what's real and what's not. And that just makes me anxious, because I'm like, obviously in most scary movies, you're like, the main character is doing something and you're like, don't do that. But I felt that heavily. There were so many things that I was like, why is she doing that in this situation? And it just kind of made it worse.
The first Smile gave me the heebie-jeebies, so I'm not really...
Not down to go see the other
I
one.
mean, like, I'll go see it because I love scary movies, but I pretty much know what to expect, I feel like. And it is a pretty freaky one.
It is freaky.
And I've heard everyone who's seen it has said that it's, like, kind of freakier than the first one, which I didn't rock with the first one. I love scary movies, but, like, I like more, like, the Conjuring, Insidious situations. I don't really like those ones. Yeah. I don't know how to explain the difference, but I just don't,
It wasn't my
gross
thing.
about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like most people have been fine with it. I haven't seen necessarily any bad reviews, but outside of just not liking scary movies, it was filmed well.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, the graphics were good, but, like, I just don't like scary movies, so.
Yeah.
I have a bad review of it.
Well, among your birthday plans, you guys informed me and Adam about the little, like, community yard sale thing that was happening.
Oh, yes.
And that gave us the secondhand shopping bug. We just
us too.
needed to go and
I wanted to do so much.
Because especially when I wasn't successful at the yard sales, I was like, I gotta find something now. Like,
yeah,
my hunter-gatherer instincts,
yes.
I need to
They
gather.
turned on. Yes.
I need to gather something.
I was like, I wish we were at the bins.
Yes.
But we had,
Oh my
like,
gosh.
too many little... We had the whole day planned out for,
gone to
like,
that one
birthday
house.
stuff.
Looked like the bins.
Oh.
Close enough.
Yeah. But it definitely hit me, too, because I was like, I'm feeling so optimistic now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm ready. But
the world is my oyster.
Yeah.
Well, me and Adam decided the world was our oyster. And we were like, I said, you know what I really want to do is I want to go to an estate sale. I said, I've never been to an estate sale. He said, oh my gosh, me too, never been. And I said, maybe let's just look up estate sales near us. And there was one a couple miles away, said, cool, we'll go there. So we go there, and it was pretty cool, honestly. I didn't realize, I was thinking about how china, like a set of china, is like a classic wedding gift, but I hadn't considered it for myself because I was like, I don't know. I don't think I need that. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, when we have kids and we're celebrating the holidays, I want to have like a nice like Thanksgiving and Christmas set to eat off of. Yeah. Just to be like, I don't know.
Special.
Special.
Yeah.
And anyway, so going to the estate sales made me realize that I do want that because there were so many, and they were like good brands for like a lot cheaper than what they go for because whatever, they're estate sales. But we found your watch inspired me to find a watch, and I did. I
Oh
found
my
a watch.
gosh.
It was $10.
Amazing.
And then I got a little picture thing for our wedding and to put flowers in and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to a second estate sale.
Oh my gosh.
That was a little further away. And I don't think we found anything there. I don't really remember. But it was really fun. And then we went to a third estate sale.
Okay, I'm seeing a trend.
Further away. That was the last estate
Okay.
sale because Adam wasn't willing to go further than that. And those
fair.
were the only 3 in the area.
Yeah.
So that's where we went. And I got this little, like, I don't know, like a gingerbread house cookie jar situation.
Cute.
Quite cute.
Very
Adam was
cute.
like, what are we going to do with that? And I was like, what are we not going to do with that?
Everything.
So, yeah, we had the estate sale bug, and we decided that we were going to find things, and we did.
Good. Worth it.
Yeah.
I've been
It's worth
to
it.
one, I think, and I was young. Like, I was just a accessory. Like,
Yeah.
I think I went with my mom and my aunt, and I think they both found things, but I was like 9 or something.
Mhm.
There was no way. I was probably like 14, actually.
Mhm.
But I was telling Justin that morning, actually, before we did meet up with y'all, I was like, this just makes me want to go to estate sales because there's just like, there's so much more,
Yes,
obviously.
it's a whole house.
It is. And I see them rarely, and they're usually like people in California, but I see people on TikTok posting their like wardrobe finds
Mhm.
from estate sales, and they're always so good.
Yeah.
And I do think it's fun.
Yeah.
Especially like if there are multiple close by, then you
Mhm.
kind of get, it's not a huge time investment. But the one I did go to was so crowded. It was the only
Mm.
thing. But
Oh, yeah, the last one we went to was pretty crowded because it was in Nolansville, but it was like they had posted like nice stuff, like Dior and Chanel stuff, so people were like,
jumping on it.
yeah, which there was not much there when we got there. But I also realized I have a really big problem with, I don't know, not being able to control my like reactions, like physical reactions. And I went upstairs in the attic of one of these houses and I picked up something, I don't know. And there was a spider on it, in it, whatever you want to say. I threw it. It was glass. It did not break, but it was glass and I did throw it. Like, not throw it as in like throw it, but throw it as in I was just like,
I would
drop.
too,
And
honestly.
Adam was like, baby, you can't just throw things. Do you think that I was like, oh, I'm going to
He
throw
said, oh,
this?
there's
Like,
a spider on
yeah,
this.
like, do you think that was my thought process? Obviously, like, I know that I need to be better at controlling my reactions, but that wasn't intentional.
No.
At
Like,
all.
I thought that, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was a brown recluse, so I was freaked out,
Valid.
like, really freaked
Very
out.
normal, yeah.
Because at first, I didn't have my glass on, I couldn't see, and I was like, what is that? And I was like, oh my God. And I just threw it.
So scary, yeah.
So it was scary.
Yeah, that is scary.
Yeah.
My next update is not a really good one. Not that it's bad, it's just that I have a really bad memory, so it's not going to be interesting. But I had a dream about me and Chloe in these costumes. It was the night before we recorded the episode. And we were wearing these costumes, and Justin and Adam were with us, and then Chloe's little sister, Allie, was there in the dream. And I don't know where we went. It's not vivid enough to know, like, what the location was. But I guess we went out. Whatever out was
Out.
in the stream. We went out. Yeah, I don't really remember what much. But I think I got into a bar fight.
I think I got into a bar fight.
In my dream.
Allegedly.
There was definitely a pool table there. And I got into a bar fight. I don't know with who.
I was going to say, was it a girl? Or
I
a
don't
boy?
know what it was over. But then we left. And I guess we got separated from Justin and Adam. Like, I think that they were, like, over us. And so they took the car, abandoned us,
Oh.
again, wherever we were,
Oh.
and we walked to Taco Bell. I mean,
I mean,
as we would.
yeah.
But, yeah, just had a little spooky Halloween dream. Thank goodness that did not happen.
Spooky Halloween
Who
dream.
did not happen and won't happen.
Mhm.
Because they would never abandon us.
You don't want to get into a bar fight?
No.
That's
I really just
interesting.
want to know what the bar fight was about, but I really don't remember. So,
Yeah, I want to know too.
yeah.
Well, I do have some details on my next update.
Oh, I was like, you have details on my dream?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got
Like
the
me.
intel.
Yeah.
I was thinking about pug meetups because we have a pug, and I wanted to find one for the pug. And I was thinking about that TikTok that went viral of the wiener dog convention, and there was a pug in a hot dog costume, and I just thought it was so cute. And I always think of that video, and I think of how I'm like, we're like close to Nashville. There should be pug meetups somewhere, surely. And he's like, Adam's like, I'm in all these Facebook groups, like I guess they just don't meet up, whatever. I'm like, there's just no way. I look up pug meetup or something like that. I found it somehow. It blessed me. I found it. And it said East Nashville pug meetup. And it was for the next day. the following
So
day.
perfect.
I know, so perfect. And it was a costume contest pug meetup.
So perfect.
I said, oh my God, I'm there. Count me in.
Yeah.
Adam was like, I don't know that I want to do all that. Like,
and you were like, no, we're going.
I said, okay, well, me and Pookie are going.
Yeah.
You can stay home and be boring, but you're just going to miss out on all the fun pugs. And honestly, it's like he wasn't even there, so maybe he should have stayed home. Not like in a bad way, but like he decided to sit on a bench across like the park in the sun, in the blazing hot sun. And I was the one like following our son around, making sure he didn't get lost or, God forbid,
get out or anything.
You know,
yeah.
What's the word? Deflower a lady pug. He's a little bit doesn't ask for consent, if you know what I mean.
He a little bit doesn't know the word no.
He a lot of it doesn't know the word no. So I just wanted to make sure he didn't deflower a young nice pug. You never really know who's fixed and who's not in these scenarios. Not that it would matter because I'd never see them again.
Yeah.
So like they'd just be stuck with their pregnant animal, and it'd be like, aw. But I don't want him to be a sperm donor.
He was scheduled and he did get fixed.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get into that one too.
But so she's not a reckless.
I'm not a reckless mother.
Because people do freak about that.
His spaying, neutering, whatever it is, neutering was scheduled. It was on the books for a couple days.
And she babysat, like she watched him.
Yes,
so that's
I watched
very
him the whole time.
Important here.
I wasn't going to let him free.
Yeah.
You have to believe me.
Trust her.
He's updated on all his shots.
He's fine.
He's fine.
Not bad pug.
Not a bad me, not a bad him. I just wanted to follow him around and just watch him closely. He's also pretty piggish, and I didn't want him to steal anyone's food or water or what have you.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were all dressed in their little costumes. There were so many of them. They were
so festive.
So many old ones too.
Aww,
so many old pugs.
Wait, that's sad.
And a lot of them were fat, which is normal, but a lot of them weren't fat, and I was so shocked.
Wait,
I was like, oh my God, people actually are taking care of their pugs, because I'm so scared. I want Pookie to live a long and healthy life, and so we keep him on his his normal, I don't know, serving size of food.
Yeah,
he's just healthy. And I was really excited to see all the little pugs. It was really fun.
What was your favorite pug costume? Not the one that won. Your favorite. If you were giving the award, who won the costume contest?
Well, I don't have a favorite costume, but I have a favorite pug that I met there.
Okay.
Out of all the pugs that I met there, all of the ones that I guess were like hosts of the Facebook group had a little like ribbon on them that said pug host or convention host or something.
So cute.
I don't know. So they were all wearing ribbons that said host. And there was this one pug. It was the softest thing I've ever met, and it was a white pug.
Oh.
And it was so soft. It felt like it just knew it was the king pug of all the pugs. And it was a host, so obvi.
Yeah.
It was just so, and it was so sweet.
Aww.
And it was just
boy
so
or girl?
cute. Boy. I thought it was girl. And then it hiked like to pee, so just maybe boy.
Just maybe boy?
Just maybe boy.
True.
But he was very sweet. I loved him. I don't think I have a favorite costume. I'm glad that we didn't do pumpkin because there was a lot of pumpkins. Oh my God. There was a pumpkin one though. Her name was Penelope, but she was this big. And she was wearing a little pumpkin costume that like took up half her body. So she was just like this little round thing. She was the sweetest thing ever. And she was so cute. And I was like, oh my gosh, how old is she? And she was like, she's 5. Pookie's like this big. And she was like this little. And I was like, she's 5. I was like, I wish Pookie would have stayed that size.
5 weeks?
She was the sweetest thing. And her name was Penelope.
That's really cute. Yeah.
Loved her.
Penelope the pug?
Penelope, the 5-year-old little baby
cute.
Tiny pug. Forever
Precious.
baby. But you know how people are like trying to breed out the bad parts of pugs?
Yeah.
So there was a couple rescue pugs that were like mixed with something, and they were also like had been in really bad like home situations, so they were paralyzed, or not paralyzed,
Aww.
but they were like disabled on their back halves. Both of them were.
Oh my God.
They hated Pookie. They were and they were so scary. Adam was like, I thought they were cute, but no, they were so scary looking.
Oh God.
And they were barking at him the whole time. The owner was so nice.
Okay.
Owner was so nice. But
if
the
your
pugs
dog
themselves,
is bad, then you have to like balance it out.
Yeah.
You know,
He
you
said
have to be an
first time
angel.
at the dog park.
Yeah,
And I was
valid.
like,
I was gonna say I try to be a saint.
But he
Well.
also said that it was that this was the biggest turnout of the pugs in a while.
How often do they do it?
He said they used to do it like once a week or once every 2 weeks or whatever.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know. But he said that the costume one last year was a lot smaller, like half the size.
Oh wow. Well, that's good. Pugs are really making a comeback.
Pugs are making a comeback. I think who can resist a pug in a costume? No one. The answer's no one. There was a lady who came in and she was like, oh my gosh, like she had her pug in a little bee costume and she was like, oh my gosh, there's another bee. Like we got to make sure we don't take home the wrong pug. And I said, ma'am, there's 3 bees. Good luck.
Get in line.
Good luck with your bee pug.
Yeah.
Oh, and there was another one. You know how pet owners are. Not to be this way, but you'll know when I say it. This girl goes, making a joke. She says, you better not leave him in the car or I'll steal him. And the owner says, I would never leave him in the car. He's my baby.
And you just got the blessing of overhearing that.
Yeah.
Such a lucky girl.
His pug's name was Maui. He was a big guy.
That checks out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Big guy, big pug.
Big guy, big pug, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah. So that was my pug experience.
Nice.
Pug convention experience. The first of many.
We'll be revisiting.
For sure.
My next update is just something happening in society right now, or just happened. And I was simply taking it in, perceiving the situation. And that is the Eras Tour is back, the last leg, I guess, and was in Miami, I think, for 3 nights. If you're on TikTok at all, you probably saw all the influencers that went. I wasn't even going to comment on that. I'm more than willing to. But what I was going to say is I thought it was interesting, the levels of influencer, because what it is, the top level of if you got invited seemed to be Tarte. That's the top level of influencer. You're like the best ones, which this isn't to discredit the smaller ones. They're just like may have less followers. It's not that they're worse, but the like, I guess, most important, in quotes, was Tarte. Then below that was LaCroix, I think. One more brand that sent people. And I just thought it was interesting that there was, like, friend groups were a little bit split with some of them. Where some of them went with Tarte and some of them went with LaCroix.
I need examples.
Well, I guess it's technically, I don't think they're friends anymore. But I think we've known this. Anna Stowell. I don't think Natalie and Greta are friends with Anna anymore.
Anna Tarte?
Anna Tarte.
Ooh. Greta LaCroix?
But Anna and Redhead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They're good friends. Like,
Anna
from
and her?
Yes.
That makes sense.
From what I've seen, like, they, like, visit each other. It's not just, like, brand trips. Yeah. Redhead was hanging out with Natalie and Greta with LaCroix. I just thought it was interesting because I just want to know what happened. Maybe it was nothing.
It probably was nothing because they just don't seem like a problematic type. And I think that like I said, I think that her vibe now is just very different.
Yes.
So I think that like her content is different, and I think her lifestyle is different than it was. It was a lot more. It was a lot similar to theirs a few years ago, and now it's just different.
Yeah, they might have just drifted apart, but they were the little summery, beachy little group. I just thought it was interesting knowing that, you know, one of their friends was with them. And just, the levels of influencer and what brand invited you. And honestly, there was one more, but I definitely don't remember.
The hierarchy is just interesting.
Yeah.
But it always is, you know?
Yeah. There were 3 notable brands that I saw multiple people post like at each one. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was those 2 brands for the Eras Tour. So you either went to the Eras Tour with Tarte or LaCroix, or you were at the Formula 1 race.
Oh.
And that was at the bottom, of course, because all the small influencers from everywhere were there. But there was just levels of influencer things this weekend that I noticed that was like, like you said, the hierarchy of it.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting.
And Tarte's always been that way. So.
Yes, it makes sense.
But.
And all the people, I don't know, all the content.
And if I were one of those people, I'd take full advantage of it.
Absolutely.
I'd be at all those concerts.
Yeah.
I'd be at those races. I'd be wherever because those tickets are so hard to get.
Yeah.
But it just hurts my heart.
It really just bothers me a lot.
Moment. If it were me, I'd take it.
Yes.
But if it's not me. So I'm sad.
And a lot of them I do think are, like, at least the LaCroix group definitely seemed to be, a lot of them were, like, very loving Taylor Swift fans, and they show that often. And that's not even specifically, like, Taylor Swift as a person. They, like Taylor Swift's music. And so I can let it go, but I just would scream all the words, so I just feel like I deserve to go.
I know. I went to a Taylor Swift concert when she did her tour for Reputation. And
that one would have been fun.
It was the best performance I've ever seen. And I would give just about anything to have seen Eras, because
if I would have gotten if I would have gotten a chance to buy tickets, I probably would have paid like any price realistically. Like, I mean, maybe I would go alone. Maybe I would not be buying anyone else's ticket to be
Yeah.
my second person. But like, if I would have gotten the chance to get a ticket, like I
Yeah.
would have got a ticket.
My issue is a lot of
I guess
times
under $1,000. There is a limit here, but like I would have loved to be there. Like I just love her music.
Yeah. I guess the issue is I don't think about like how badly I want to see an artist until it's too late.
Same.
Like I feel that way about, which I really, really wanted to see Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh my gosh.
And I feel like the opportunity was like ripped away from me. Like I feel like it was so close.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely would have loved to go back in time and get tickets for her.
I would have loved to see
and
her.
get tickets for Taylor Swift. Go back in time and get tickets for so many people.
Yeah, I would have loved to see. She was just here, Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh my gosh.
To do that. But I didn't know. Like I don't know.
I'm heartbroken over Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah. I wish I could get a like, Santa's. Nashville people. It's like a Nashville celebrity bar.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to see Sabrina Carpenter do her Christmas album at Santa's. Because her Christmas album, I know we're celebrating Halloween this week, but her Christmas album is incredible. It's like Sabrina Carpenter music except Christmas. It's not Christmas music except Sabrina Carpenter singing it. There's a difference and it's perfect.
No,
and
there is a difference.
Love it. Like it is the best Christmas album ever.
I like Casey Musgrave's Christmas.
I bet hers is good. I never heard it though.
And I think hers is kind of like some of them are Christmas, but Casey Musgrave sings it, but other parts of it are Casey Musgrave's Christmas, like her Christmas song. So it's really good. Love it.
I just
very
would
girly,
love
very fun
to see, Sabrina Carpenter. But I'm always the same way. Like I'm never. There are concerts I know I want to see, but I just guess I am not paying attention to when things are going on sale or whatever. So then it's always too late.
Yeah. So one of my updates is I voted today. Woohoo!
Yay!
Everybody go vote.
Everyone go vote.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to get it over while early voting is still happening.
Yes, I need to.
And I just didn't want to have to be there on election day.
Yeah.
But also, voting is always such a strange experience because it's so silent in there. And there's nothing to break the silence. Because you can't really just, I don't know, you just don't really want to talk because you feel like everybody doesn't want to talk to anybody. And so you're just like, well. And
where'd you go?
The like agriculture place right next to Pause.
Okay.
As I was walking out, I was waiting on my mom. And there was a girl who was like, I don't know any of these people. And I was like,
score. Great.
Yes.
Exactly what I want to hear in this situation.
She came like alone too, so I was like, I don't know, like no one pushed her to come vote. Like she went and did it on her own.
Unprepared though.
Yeah. She was just, I guess,
maybe
excited.
she meant, because aren't there like.
Well, because there's president and then there's like Senate, House of Representatives.
Maybe she meant that because whenever I've never went and voted. I've voted, but I was away. I was at college the last presidential election,
so you just
I mailed in.
Yeah. Oh.
I had the mail in that time, so I've never had to go in person because I like couldn't vote in my zip code or whatever. And so I definitely remember when I was doing the mail in, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I had to. Luckily, I had it in front of me, so I was able to go educate myself at the time. But yeah, all of the other people that aren't the president, maybe she was talking about them.
Probably.
I really hope so. She's like, I'm gonna close my eyes and pick one.
The guy that was like working, like, you know, like showing everybody how to do everything. He was like, well, you know who you came here to vote for, so just vote for them, and then I guess just stick to the party.
Yeah, that's,
Which I guess what else would you say? Because that's what I would say too.
Yes.
If you don't know any of them, it's not like they can help you. So.
Yeah, we're not going to sit here and
let me break down the policies real quick.
Yes. Off the top of my head, I'm thinking,
yeah. So I did that. My second little quick update is when we were on our way to the estate sale, we looked over and we're like, normally, you know, Tennessee, so there's like cows, horses, whatever. We look over, ostriches. We see 2 of them. Oh my gosh, there's ostriches. We look out and we're staring out into the field. Oh my God, it's a field of ostriches. Ostrich farm.
Justin, did we live by that? Okay. I was going to say, this sounds really familiar, but.
Maybe there's more than one because I don't think is that in the same direction? I am geographically challenged. Nolansville.
Yeah. I think it was whenever we were driving.
What do they do there?
Ostrich.
I just don't understand. Like, can you visit the ostrich farm, or is it just they have ostriches that they're holding hostage, like selfishly for their own, just to own ostriches? Oh well, yeah, there is. Yeah.
Oh, like to eat?
Yeah.
Oh,
people use them for all kinds of different like health things.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Maybe they go to
kinds
like petting zoos.
Maybe
like pop-up petting zoos. That is a like
Anyway,
in Tennessee, you'll look
farm.
over. Yeah.
I said that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just noteworthy.
Yeah.
I learned the other day that when you're pregnant,
Scared.
your bladder can fall out. And, pause, it's common.
I mean-
Where is the lady with the list?
That's what I was about to say. I was like, the lady with the list. Yeah, because there's obviously so many things that, like, with age and with social media, we learn about more and more things that can happen during pregnancy and, like, right after pregnancy. However, I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah. Someone I know told me that. Well, someone I know, someone they know told
Okay.
them, and they told me.
Okay.
And so through the grapevine, I learned that your bladder can fall out when you're pregnant.
I don't know what that
I'm
means.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. I said because I was hearing it secondhand, I can't even hear, like, I don't even know,
like the
I
experience.
can't grasp or visualize. Not that I want to visualize it, but
But,
I
like,
want to understand.
Yes.
Like, how, when you say it fell out,
Like, what does that
do you
mean?
mean like it like fell out of you, like the organ fell out of you, like? And then all I got from the person who told me was, well, it was still attached.
What does that mean? Speaking of scary and spooky, your bladder can come out.
Speaking of spooky,
yeah, this
spooky
is
things,
perfect. Yeah,
your bladder can and might fall out and still be attached, which you need it functioning.
again,
so.
out of where and off of what and attached to
I
who?
assume out of. I know. I was like,
How big's the bladder?
that's what I was
How
wondering.
can it fall
Like,
out?
I was gonna say, like, that's what I'm saying. One, how big is your bladder? And how does it just easily fall out? Like, what's going on? And now I'm gonna look up how big the bladder is because I need to know. It looks big.
Out. I just don't understand.
Wait, that's a man.
Did you not notice that?
No.
That's the first thing I noticed.
Well, why would they show me that? I said woman.
Because Google.
Okay, well, I mean, it's pretty much the same size anyway, but that looks. Oh my god.
It doesn't look.
I'm having pains.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
It doesn't look like it should be falling out. That's
Would
for
agree.
sure.
Yeah.
Spooky, scary skeletons.
Spooky and scary.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. On the topic of spooky and scary,
Mhm.
we have several things to discuss.
Yeah.
We need to talk about our spooky history with Halloween.
Yeah. Some of our favorite or not so favorite Halloween memories.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And also some spooky stories if you stay till the end.
Yeah. Scary things to be thinking about.
To be brewing.
Brewing, exactly. Yeah. To be mulling over while we're in this spooky
Yeah.
holiday.
So, quick Halloween debrief
Mm-hmm.
and then some spooky stories.
My first Halloween memory to share is, I want to say I was like 8 or 9. I think I dressed up as a witch. And I don't know why I was so upset, but I was going trick-or-treating with my parents and 2 of my aunts. There might have been more people here, but that's all I remember. I had like super dark makeup on, since as a girl, all you want to do is play with makeup. And it was Halloween, so I was allowed to. So I had like all my scary, spooky, witchy, gothy makeup on. I got upset. Could have been me pulling an only child. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Maybe I was upset. Maybe it was valid. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I was being a baby. I'm not sure. But I cried. And so like my black makeup like poured down my face. I guess I ended up, everything was fine. We did trick or treat and it was fine. And thank goodness it was Halloween, so I was able to get away with it. But my parents took a picture of me with both of my aunts, and they're both smiling, and I'm in the middle of them, like, having been sobbing on Halloween, and I'm going to insert it.
I was gonna say, you gotta insert
you got to
that
go look
picture.
at it. But if you're only listening and not watching, you're really missing out. It's a good episode to watch. Yeah, that was my, I guess, not so fondest Halloween memory, but looking back, it's just funny just because there is a picture. Thank goodness.
I have a few that off the top of my head. I'll start from when I was the youngest, and that was, I don't even know. That's just when I was little. My older sister was always like superhero person, so she was either Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, whatever you want to say. And then I was always a princess, which was just always funny to see the two of us together because I was always like Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was always like a male superhero and a princess.
Perfect.
Just the two of
The
us.
perfect lineup.
And it was just so funny seeing the two of us next to each other.
Yeah.
Just two very opposite daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My other one off the top of my head was This is definitely later. I want to say this was probably my last Halloween that we wanted to have like seen each other for something for Halloween. So I guess it would have been freshman year. I didn't have Halloween plans. I grew up with fairly strict parents and I just didn't have any. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know. And so me and my best friend Mia were hanging out and we were going to like pass out candy and we dressed up and all that. And we decided, we are like, oh my gosh, we should just go trick or treating. I personally, I understand that there is a cutoff. Most people just like assume there's a cutoff
Mhm.
for like when kids can stop trick or treating. And I would say it probably is high school.
Yeah.
I was always like taller, so there was no way I was passing as not. The reactions we received were strange considering we weren't out drinking, doing drugs, or partying. Instead,
Oh.
we were like in our costumes just
Mhm.
trying to get some candy. And the middle school librarian lived in my neighborhood and she was like, you guys are too old for this. Like, I'm not going to give you any candy. Like, you guys, yeah, she like shamed
Is the
us.
middle school librarian who I think it is, or did that change at one point?
Not that mom,
Okay, okay.
the other one.
Okay, yeah.
It was the older librarian in
yeah.
middle school. But she like shamed us. And I'm like, I was 14, I think.
Which is
And
really not
it's not that old.
old.
And like, it's a very slow neighborhood. So like, if you have your light on,
Yeah.
probably no one's gonna be coming anyway. Like
Yeah.
maybe it'll be like a few people, especially at night. Because if there is any, they were like young kids that come in like
Mhm.
5 or 6. And it was just so rude. And it wasn't a big deal, obviously, but it was just strange. Because I'm like, I could be out doing so much worse.
Yeah.
And you won't give us like a piece of candy. And obviously, like, I don't know. It wasn't.
And
We're just
also,
soaking in our childhood. It just
you're-
wasn't a thing. I was just like, that was just. And as a middle school teacher, or a librarian, I was just like, that was so just.
mean.
It was so mean to a child, like realistically. Like, I have plenty of years to not trick or treat. And we were just like feeling silly, like we're just besties hanging out. Let's go trick or treating. And did not slay.
And that age is also interesting because what do you really do on Halloween at
yes.
that age? Like,
yeah. You're too young and you're too old.
to trick or treat, but you're too young to do anything else, really.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So,
Yeah.
That
It was
sucks.
just, yeah, I don't know. That was definitely not a. I mean, we had a good time hanging out before that. I just thought it was strange.
the next one that comes to my mind is another one with one of my sisters. She's the same age as me, so not older or younger. And we were supposed to both be zombie cheerleaders. And my parents were big on like thrifting pieces of our Halloween costumes. So a lot of the times we would try and go do that. And I remember we went to Goodwill and we got like cheerleader costumes, especially because we were going to be dead, like zombie cheerleaders. So they were going to be like ripping it up and like putting blood all
that
over it.
makes
So
sense.
like,
It didn't need to be
yeah.
a nice new expensive
so we just
costume,
got the 2 cheerleader costumes. And I remember the day comes, Halloween's time to get ready. We're putting on our makeup. We're putting on whatever. They do my sister's. And she looks really good for like a zombie cheerleader, but I broke down crying. I was like, I cannot do this. I cannot cope. I'm used to being pretty and girly, and that was just not so out of my comfort zone, not my vibe. And my parents were like, they like love Halloween. And they were like, it's Halloween. Come on, it's cool. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. No way are you getting me to put blood on this cheerleader costume. It's not happening. And it didn't. So we had one zombie cheerleader and a regular cheerleader. And that's what we went for Halloween.
So interesting.
Yeah.
I'm
She
sure.
was always more chill than me.
Yeah. I was gonna say, but like you guys decided you were gonna do it together, and
Yeah.
then they did hers, and then you wouldn't do it. And it's
And
like
I said, that's
she's like,
for
oh,
you.
so I guess I'll do it alone.
Yeah, and also like how bad would that have made her feel to be like, oh, she thinks it's ugly. Like, so you
She
think I'm
thinks
ugly.
I look bad.
Yeah. I was like, oh hell no. I'm not doing
I ain't
that.
looking like that.
And I remember like looking back at the pictures, like she does look cooler than me. Like she can hang. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I'm too type A,
Set
too
up your future.
perfectionist. It just makes so much sense as
Yeah.
far as our lives are concerned.
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah.
So yeah. And if you know her, you know.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
yeah.
Do you have another childhood one?
Not really like specifically, just that my parents were big on Halloween. So we started the Halloween parties when that was before me and you though. That was
Yeah.
in that one neighborhood. And there were people, oh my gosh, it was just sweet. Like people like my parents just went all out as far as like our neighborhood was concerned.
Yeah.
Like looking back, I don't really know. I guess it really was all out because we DIY'd everything. Like there was like the like cotton candy things in the grounds. They like when we painted them and put like I don't know to make it look like cotton candy. We did that. We did like a broken like wooden fence that they made. They had that little ticket booth with Marvin in
Yeah.
it.
No,
and
they definitely went all
they
out.
definitely
Yeah.
it definitely was all out because everything was like handmade too. So like it was very time consuming, and obviously they kept all these things for years. So they just added more and more every year. But there were people in our neighborhood who would just like get so excited just to see our house, which kind of made me sad that like when we moved, I was like, oh my
Oh,
gosh,
that is kind of sad.
because there was a couple who came one year, and then the next year she was pregnant, and then the next year it was her and the baby, and I was like, I can't do this. So sweet. But yeah, no, my parents were big on that, and my parents were very big on also like realistic makeup and such. So my dad was always like dressed like very creepy for kids.
Yeah.
Like, and then there was a little girl who one time at one of our Halloween parties, she like yelled at him because she was like 6, and she started yelling at him. She was like, "You made my little sister cry."
Oh my god. Evil Jared.
Yeah. But I mean, they got very generous as they were scaring children. They gave full-size candy bars, so
Of
it was
course.
like
Yeah, it's worth it.
it's worth it.
Worth a little fright.
I was gonna say, like, come on,
Yeah.
work for it.
Yeah. It's Halloween.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fun.
Loser. Can't hang.
Can't hang.
Can't hang with
They're
that.
me. I'm the little girl.
You're the little sister that
Yeah.
cried.
Yeah, I am the little sister that cried. My older sister coming to yell for me.
To protect
No,
you.
she would just push me down and be like, "Loser."
Yeah. Ha ha, you're crying.
Yeah. One year, me and Allie did a couple's costume, and she was Bob Ross, and I was the painting.
Oh.
I don't know if that was sophomore or junior.
I guess it would have been sophomore because that's not the one I'm thinking of.
And then whatever the following year, I was
That
that-
scary
that thing.
Yeah. That's what I remember. I feel like I wasn't even an adult, but like I was an only child, so Halloween wasn't a big thing, I guess, for us at all. Oh my gosh, I have another one actually. Pause. Very short pause. My parents were hell bent on doing Tail of the Dragon. This was probably my dad was hell bent on doing Tail of the Dragon, which is like a Tennessee drive. I think it's Tennessee. It's if you have a car, you take it there. I don't know. We did that on Halloween one year. Yes, and I was a child.
Oh,
Yes.
come
And
on.
I know. And I was so sad because I couldn't go trick or treating. And I was like, are we going to be back in time? And we weren't back in time. And so
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah. the only trick or treating I did was I went in the gas station and tried to like see if they would give me candy at like trick or treat like to the like cashier. And then the same car ride, on the way to I think it was like on the way back was Halloween, but on the way there I got car sick. And then I missed Halloween. I don't know. The gas station might have given me some candy, but I got gum stuck in my hair. It was so bad.
That's really sad.
I
That makes me
know.
want to cry for you.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I want to say like 10. I think it
parents
was
coulda-
after we had moved. So like we were 10 probably was about right. Which is like definitely still can be trick or treating. That's probably when it's more exciting because you can like
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what's going on.
yeah. So
That's really sad.
sorry, I just remembered that.
Gosh.
Yeah. So the point of all that is that I feel like Halloween like clicked for me probably that year. The first Halloween we
Mhm.
spent together because they did go all out and it was so fun. Like I remember going upstairs at that house and the like foam machine was up and it was all
Mhm.
decorated and it was like some people from like high school and I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my gosh, there's like this is a party." Like
Yeah.
I didn't go to parties. I was just like and it like there was family and everything
Yeah.
there, but it was still just like so close, high school on
Yeah.
TV, stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And yeah, I feel like that's when Halloween like kind of clicked for me because I was we were kind of old enough to drive and stuff like that. So
It definitely was. Like, my parents definitely went all out for those parties, like, for us to make it, like, fun and
Mhm.
age appropriate. I think there's a, like, line. I think a lot of times people can go, I guess, when they're young, can go maybe too far, but I think that it was
it was
I
just
feel like
right.
it was
yeah.
just right.
It was
Just the
just
right
right.
amount. Yeah.
It made us feel mature, but it wasn't too mature for us.
And
like
part of it probably was because there were older people there. So, like, having
Mhm.
older siblings and their friends being there
yeah.
made it like, ooh, these are, like, people that are older than me and, like, cooler and, like,
yeah.
we don't know them. And they definitely, like, weren't cooler, but it was
Yeah.
just, like,
It was
they're
just like
older.
there were all these
so
other
it's, like, foreign.
Yeah. And it was just like worlds coming together, I
Mhm.
guess. So I don't know. It was just fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, that Halloween I was a taco. I had like one of those foam taco costumes.
I had one of those too.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say that was a great Halloween. I feel like I had to leave in the middle of.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to leave early.
Yeah.
And I don't know how early. I just remember being like, "Oh, really?" Because
Yeah.
it hadn't been going on for very long. It was
Mhm.
just like you need to be home by this time.
No.
And
That's not why I
was
had
it
to
not?
leave. No.
Wait a minute.
Grumpy. And we had to
Oh.
leave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, forgot about that.
Yeah.
But no, I remember you leaving early, and you
Yeah,
just like I
yeah.
remember you walking up to me and being like, "Oh, we have to go," and I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. So that was our first Halloween together. And then I guess it's only uphill from there.
Uphill from there.
Yeah. Senior year, I feel like we decorated and like prepped everything together. It was a
Yeah.
new house, same
I
parents.
think you were the only friend I invited. I don't really remember
Maybe.
people being there.
I feel like
Maybe I invited people,
mutuals
but
of like Layla were there.
well, yeah.
But yeah.
But I mean, like as far as like my friends were concerned, I think it was just like me and you bopping around all
Yeah. It was. That one was a lot smaller.
because it was a lot of the most of the people that were there. Yeah, that was way smaller. But
Yeah.
most of the people that were there were Grayson's and Zach's friends.
Mhm. I do remember that because I remember like.
But
'Cause-
honestly, most years it was their friends. They had a lot of friends. I feel like.
But I definitely think it was bigger at the other house or just that
Yeah.
year. I don't know. And so that probably made it not seem like it was
Mhm.
just their people. But senior year, I mean, I would have probably been 17 and you had just turned 18.
A lot of people were also outside too.
True. Yeah. But I just remember like, because the big kids,
Mm-hmm.
they were like in a different room.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was just us. So it was like, your dad was playing music and that Bruno Mars, When I Was Your Man by Bruno Mars came on in the middle of the Halloween party. And it's like, the lights were all off and there were like all the like, you know, lights for vibes and like the strobe light. And then When I Was Your Man came on.
And we were like, vibe killer.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was like downhill from there.
Yeah, that night I was like, okay, well the night's over.
That Halloween our day was fine, but I was not slaying that October. But
neither was I.
yeah.
Rough October.
Down bad. And then,
Down bad.
Halloween there. Down bad. That was fine. I guess we didn't spend Halloween together until last year.
Freshman year. Well, freshman year you were gone.
Yeah.
You did your stuff. And then sophomore year, you weren't gone, but you went there.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, I went back to Knoxville every Halloween. Well, freshman year I was there, and then sophomore and junior year I went back for Halloween every year. So
Well, what did we do last year?
Last year we went to Layla's party together.
Oh, then the year before that is where I remember my memories. That's because we didn't spend it together, but we were going to go to a haunted house, the four of us, and then you had already gone to one, and they're expensive. To be realistic, and so we didn't end up going together, but we were supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
That's all
I feel like our plans were very loose.
Yeah, they were.
And yeah, then we ended up actually going another time, and it was fine, but it wasn't like
good enough
to go again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was so short. Like, I had never been to a haunted house. Like, I think it would have been fun if we did like a haunted hayride or something that was like a little longer, like haunted maze. It felt expensive for like very short amount of time. And obviously they like pick on people. I feel like if you're a girl, they just follow you around.
Yeah.
Like the actors and stuff. Yeah, I feel like whenever we did talk about it, like we didn't know if more people were coming. Because you had mentioned maybe inviting Paige, and yeah, we just never officially did anything. So yeah, I think our next Halloween we spent together was last year. I was a witch. What were you that day? Wait, oh, Peach.
Oh, Layla's party?
Yeah.
I thought we were going to go to your...
We did have two, I forgot.
Yeah. I guess we'll start with Layla then. Yeah, I was Adam and I were Mario and Peach.
And it was fun. It was interesting seeing a lot of people from high school that I never see. And it was interesting because obviously I saw Adam very rarely, and I had just seen him for your birthday, and that didn't go well. I mean, it was fine, but it was just...
Yeah, it just wasn't like... nothing progressed.
No, nothing progressed. And so at Halloween, I remember I stopped to get a Prime energy drink at Eagleville grocery store in my costume. It was humbling.
Wow.
And then I got there.
Yeah.
I got to your house and my tights ripped, which they didn't super matter to the outfit, but yeah, it was just not great. But Adam opened my drinks all night.
So kind.
Every time I needed a drink.
There you go.
And, you know, Maybe that was one pebble in our friendship.
It was.
A very small pebble.
That was such an
But
interesting night thinking about like where everyone is now, not even just you guys, but we've talked about other people that were there and
mhm.
our relationships with them at that time and how things have shifted, and so it's interesting.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that was interesting.
Mhm.
But it was good.
It was good.
Yeah. Me and Justin hosted a little party. We just did like a game night. It was just mostly couples, honestly.
Mhm.
And we just sat around and did a game night and had like snacks and drinks and decorations and all that. That was fun. I mean, it's just hard because we live far away and it's hard to do a lot when you're far away. But it was fun. I feel
It
like
was
the
fun.
games definitely brought everyone together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was good in the like, I guess it helped be an icebreaker because a lot of those people like were going to see each other again but didn't see each other regularly. So
That's true, yeah.
like it being in a party sense where there's like drinks and like a theme and all of that, like I feel like the pressure of everyone getting along was a lot less
Mhm.
because it just doesn't matter. It's just a party. It's fine. No one has to like sit and have in-depth conversations. So
Mhm.
it was good. I feel like last year had a good Halloween. Honestly, got a lot out of Halloween last year. I feel like
Good.
we can jump right into scary stories then.
Spooky
Ooh.
stories.
Oh. Do you want to go first or shall I?
Okay. I don't feel that confident in my stories, but
Okay.
here we are. They're all minor, all Reddit stories, and I don't know what if this is in like a subreddit or anything, but the person who wrote it, OP, is Tidy Whitey's 37. So, Tidy Whitey's 37. Shout out to you. And this was 7 years ago.
Okay.
So kind of old, pretty old.
Yeah.
They said, I lived in an old apartment in 2002. The place was built in 1900, so it was just over 100 years old when I moved in. The living room and kitchen were fine, but the bathroom and bedroom were unnerving. Like I just always felt like I was being watched, especially in the bedroom if the closet door was open. Those unnerving feelings just became moderately uncomfortable as I settled in. I felt safe in the bedroom, but only if the door was locked. One night, I was dead asleep when there was a loud bang on my bedroom door. When I got up the courage to get out of bed, I checked the apartment and all the windows were closed and locked from the inside. The door still had the chain secured. No one was in there. I mentioned the closet in the bedroom. I never liked going in there, and I never liked if the door was open. For some reason, in my head, I would hear gasping noises. So, for that reason, the closet stayed closed. A month or more after I was woken to the bang on my door, I was dead asleep, but something woke me up, and it was pressure on me, like being held down. It was pitch black in my room. I couldn't see anything, but I knew something was standing over me. When I could finally turn on the bedside lamp, no one was there. After then, I couldn't sleep in the dark. I had to sleep with the lamp on. That incident scared the life out of me, and after that, the unnerving feeling of being watched intensified. Friends would come over and comment about being uncomfortable in the bathroom, like being watched.
Oh
It
my
became
gosh.
so uncomfortable for me when I had the chance to move to another unit. I jumped at it. I packed up and got out. After me, several people rented the apartment and they would move out within months. I became friendly with the building manager and I told him I felt the place was haunted. He kind of laughed it off. Years after, they were renovating the place. Building manager was doing some painting in there. The building owner was there too. I went and checked out the apartment and it looked nicer. It didn't feel as creepy. I got to talking with the building owner and through the course of conversation, he just throws it out there that a former tenant had commit suicide in the closet by hanging themselves. He also mentioned that the original designer of the building lived in that apartment and died in there. I wasn't mad when I heard that at all, but felt validated from what I experienced and that it was real.
Oh my gosh. That
Yeah,
is creepy.
definitely creepy.
Yeah. The feeling of like when waking up out of deep sleep and feeling like someone's
Pressing on you.
yeah, that's terrifying.
Which some people in the comments had addressed that this could be side effects of like carbon monoxide poisoning, which is common in a lot of Reddit stories. People are like saying weird things are happening to them, and then people are like, you might want to check for carbon monoxide poisoning because those are like hallucinations and stuff like that can be
Yeah.
symptoms, and especially if he's experiencing that when he's like waking up in the morning. So,
But scary.
spooky.
Definitely spooky. So a 100-year-old apartment.
I know. And the fact that he said, when I got to move to another unit, I jumped at it. Why didn't you move out of the building?
So many questions, honestly.
I would have said, bye.
Yeah,
Sorry.
for real. This is subreddit True Scary Stories. Little odd one, I guess, is the user. I don't know how to work Reddit, sorry. Okay. The title is My Family's Haunted Barn. Says, so for some background, the barn has been in my family for 2 generations. My grandparents and now my uncle. Someone had committed suicide by hanging in the barn before they lived there. Feminine screams have been heard near the barn. I do not have many spooky stories, so these are mostly my dad's, as he grew up there. One day, my dad was messing around with a football in the barn. He threw it in the loft, only for it to come back to him in a perfect spiral. He threw the ball while yelling up to whoever was up there. No one answered, but the ball came back. He kept playing catch for around a minute until the ball didn't come back. He climbed a ladder and only saw hay. My dad was playing cops and robbers in the barn with his friends. They decided the gutter was for the people caught. The gutters were a slightly lowered part of the inside of the barn for manure. My dad was caught and was standing in the gutters when he saw a red liquid seeping from the grates. He and his friends panicked and ran out. I guess there's a few examples from dad. My dad was part of the tough crowd in high school. Halloween was coming up and they weren't scared of ghosts. They pooled together and bought a Ouija board. Of course, the barn was a perfect place to go. Someone had died there after all. They placed their hands on the planchette, I'm not sure, and watched in fear as it started moving. They freaked out, jumping away from the board and leaving it there as they raced back to the house. One friend swore the ghost had followed him home. The teen refused to sleep alone, and for weeks after, he slept in between his parents. When he was 17, my dad was getting ready to move out and join the army. He had to get rid of his motorcycle as he didn't have a place to store it. He had found a buyer and was showing him the bike. It was kept in a small underground offshoot of the barn. As they were talking it over, the old, half-broken radio suddenly started blaring organ music. My dad was a rock lover. He had never listened to anything else. The two guys were spooked and ran out as fast as they could. My dad checked out the radio the next day and saw the switch was in the off position and still covered in dust. From the way the story is told, it seems like the radio could have also been a cassette player and he only listened to his tapes, which is why the organ music freaked him out so much. When I was little, my uncle had put up a rope in the middle of the barn, tying it up to a rafter tie. All of us cousins had been born pretty close together, so leaping from the hayloft like Tarzan seemed like a good way to keep all the kids occupied. I ran into the barn beating everyone else. I grabbed the rope and clung to it with my hands and feet to cement my place as first. Suddenly, small black things fell from above and around us. A few fell on my head. After a moment of shock, we looked around and saw dead bats. They littered the floor around us.
Ooh.
So many
That
things
was
in
a
one.
lot of things.
That
in
was a
one.
lot to take in, honestly.
Mhm.
I thought that the little small things were going to be spiders, and I was like, that's not spooky.
Yeah.
And I guess that's not really that spooky with bats either. But
I think it is but bats are pretty common, I guess.
yeah. And them just like falling when they got there, I guess, is weird.
The Ouija board thing reminded me of how my mom said, I just think Ouija boards, I do not rock
I
Ouija
was going to say, anything with a
not.
Ouija board, I'm just not really interested in.
Yeah, no. But my mom, every time we would talk about Ouija boards, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, one time me and my friends, we were playing with a Ouija board in the middle of the night at a cemetery."
Yeah, I would never, ever.
Also, what's crazy about that is that like her family was so like strict on like religion and stuff.
So that is,
So
yeah.
that's very interesting to
Yeah.
me that they were
Getting-
messing around with all that.
Mm-hmm. That's creepy.
That's too spooky for me.
No, every time anyone has a story about a Ouija board, it's always sus. And you just can't explain them all, so I don't know. I don't like it very much. The football one, I thought was kind of crazy. That he threw catch back and forth with it, like the football spiraling back. For a
Yeah.
minute? A
Who
whole
timed
minute? He was sitting there timing it the whole time. No, that one kind of is
A
weird.
little spooky, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. A barn in general is spooky to me.
Yeah. And the fact that their family lived there for so long,
Mhm.
like kept, I don't know, I guess nothing that terrible happened, so there's no reason to like,
and it
you
was like
have to, and it was
they
the
probably
barn, not
owned
the house.
property
Yes.
and whatever. Just
But I'm like, y'all just kept going back in there. He kept having weird things happen, and he kept going in there. I don't know.
I wouldn't.
No.
I think that people who live out in the country and own like barns and land and all that kind of stuff, they just don't think too deep into it. They're like, "Oh, that was weird," and they move on.
Yeah,
So like,
true.
even if it's spooky, usually like, especially if he's a son, his dad was probably like, "Suck it up, don't be like a wuss, go."
True.
Go do
And it
whatever,
might have
like-
not like registered at the time all
Mhm.
the weird things that happened,
Mhm.
and maybe it was like when he was older and he was telling his child about it. He's like, wait, there were quite a few
Yeah.
coincidences, I guess.
This one's a little shorter. It is from OK Pumpkin 1361.
True.
Says, when I was 10, me and my grandpa were driving to a ranch in Mexico. It was 3:40 in the morning, and we were driving on supposedly haunted road. My grandpa, why is there's so many run-on sentences? Sorry. We were driving on a supposedly haunted road. My grandpa had a blue Ford pickup truck, and anyways, my grandpa and I were just making conversation. He then said, this road is haunted. A lady stands on the side of the road asking for rides. So I got scared and started looking out the window. 40 minutes pass, and the sun is still down. My grandpa keeps looking at his rearview mirror. I asked him what's wrong, and he replied nothing. I then look at the mirror, my heart drops, and I'm just paralyzed in fear. I see a woman in a white dress with pitch black eyes in the back of my truck, or back of our truck. My grandpa looks at the mirror once again, and I'm guessing he sees it as well. He just slams on the brakes. We both just look at each other. We look at the mirrors. She was gone, and me and my grandpa addressed what happened and confirmed that we both saw her and got out of the truck. We were moments away from falling into a deep ditch off the road. If my grandpa hadn't slammed on the brakes, we could have been dead ever since he never took that road. Scariest moment in my life.
Questions.
Yeah.
If he knew that it was haunted, then you'd assume he had been there before.
Yeah.
But not known this random life-threatening ditch.
Well, maybe he went on the road thinking he's like, because it's his grandchild, so maybe he's just like, oh, people say that this road is haunted.
Yeah.
And then maybe when he was driving, he just wasn't paying attention because he was looking in the mirror because he was freaked out.
Yeah, maybe.
I like to believe that these stories aren't real
For sure.
because sometimes people do lie.
Yeah. Yeah.
People have free will and lying exists. So that could happen.
Lying does exist.
Lying does exist.
Yeah.
So part of me feels like maybe they're lying.
Yeah, because it just
But
gives me the heebie-jeebies.
it is spooky. It
Mhm.
reminds me of like, the spooky stories, scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yeah.
Those books. It
Yeah.
reminds me like of a story from that.
Yeah. I don't know. It just always freaks me out where they're there and then they're not.
Mhm.
I'm just like,
Yeah. Especially if
But,
like
in the
more
mirror,
than
that's
one
actually-
person sees
Yes.
it. That's always
and the
spooky.
mirror is scary because like usually I feel like they're in the dark and they're like,
Yeah.
I thought I saw a shadow
Mhm.
or a figure
Mhm.
or like a glimmer. But like if you're like seeing them in that detail, yeah, I'm just gonna hope it's not real.
You know what? Like the ghost mirror situation reminds me of?
Hmm.
It reminds me of when people do the Bloody Mary thing. And me and my siblings were freaked out. Like we genuinely believed it. We were like, this is terrifying. And I don't remember who told us about it. Someone at school, I assume, whatever.
Yeah.
But my mom was like, none of us would go into the bathroom. We were freaked out. And like we wouldn't go to the bathroom alone.
Oh.
And my mom was like, I will literally do it to show you it's not real. And we were like sobbing. We thought that she was gonna like
Oh
die.
my
We were all standing outside the bathroom door sobbing.
Wait, she knows that you're scared of it, and I get the thought behind it.
She was just
She's like,
fed up.
I'm gonna debunk it,
Yeah,
and yeah, she's
yeah.
fed up. I get it, but at the same time, like being so
Yes.
scared of it,
I don't
and
think she realized how terrified we were. Like
Yes.
screaming.
Yes, like
we're like,
that's-
my mom's gonna
yeah,
die.
yeah, like that's terrifying.
It was so scary. She lived. Bloody Mary's not real, I guess.
Mom lived to tell the tale. Thank God.
I always get so like superstitious about that kind of stuff. I feel like we should like thank Beyonce before we end the episode. You know what I'm talking about?
Why?
What? You haven't heard that? The lore?
No.
Everyone thinks that like if you don't like thank Beyonce, then you're gonna die.
Thank her for what?
And that's why they think that Kanye West was saving Taylor Swift
Oh,
whenever
I
he
have seen
interrupted the
that.
speech and was like, Beyonce should have won, whatever. I don't know. They think that he was saving her, which I don't know that I'd go that far, but it is spooky the amount of people who have thanked Beyonce who don't have a correlation to her. I'm just saying it is a little freaky. This is all
Like,
allegedly.
You're just supposed to say thank you.
You're supposed to thank her. I don't know. She's like the leader of the Illuminati or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. Better do that.
Allegedly. Thank you, Beyonce. We
Thank you,
love
Beyonce.
you. Love you.
Love.
Queen. You paved the way.
Girlhood at its finest.
Yeah. So that's spooky also.
Yeah.
That's a real life spooky story. That's pop culture spooky right there.
Yes. Such a good addition.
And JoJo Siwa thanked Beyonce at some performance recently. And that's why everyone was like, she was kind of making a joke about it. And then everyone was like freaked out saying that she shouldn't have done that, I guess. I don't know. And like Dua Lipa like didn't thank Beyonce and she would like looked scared. I don't know.
Oh my God.
There's a lot of celebrities who have thanked Beyonce.
Wait, I'm gonna
It was
look it up
Kelsey
now.
Ballerini thanked Beyonce, saying like, "Oh, Beyonce made the best, or she made a country album. It changed the industry."
Oh my God.
There's a lot of people who thank Beyonce. I'm just saying.
Okay, I gotta get educated
Yeah, so
on the pop culture.
Mhm.
Scary stuff.
spooky.
Yeah.
So, not saying it's real or not real. I'm just saying
Keep an eye out.
keep an eye out. You gotta keep an eye out for Selena.
This one is user Foxy Dandy.
Mm.
Okay. I saw a creature in the woods that didn't want me there.
Ew. No. Sorry.
When I was a little younger, I loved going on walks in the woods. I would go on walks just about every morning, and I never cared much for worrying about what was out there. I always just strolled through the woods behind my house that seemed to go on forever. One day, I walked further than I ever have. I just wanted some more exercise. I was restless that day, and I felt like I had enough energy to keep going and just enjoy the beautiful view in the woods. After I was past a certain point, I came to a clearing with a big rotted log in the center of it. It was beautiful. It was clean like the forest floor had been vacuumed, almost like a carpet, and the sun had shined through the treetops perfectly. I had wanted to just sit down and enjoy this gorgeous view in front of me, so I decided to sit down on the rotted log to take it all in. Everything felt so warm and homey, but for some reason, sharp and sinister at the same time, or maybe that's just how I'm choosing to remember it, so I never go back there. Anyway, there were birds and sounds of wind, and then suddenly all of the joy in the place sank. The sun covered by clouds, and it was so weird that there were no more sounds at all. I can't even describe it. I've never felt anything like it before. I just sat there with this feeling and I couldn't shake it, like there was no happiness in the world at all, and I was scared of something that I hadn't even seen. And then far away, up on the hill, even deeper into the forest, I heard a branch snap. And it felt like whatever it was acknowledged that it was there and that I knew it was that I was where I wasn't supposed to be, like I had wandered into its territory. And then after this cold, slow moment, I heard whatever it was bolt down the hill violently, like no animal or human could ever achieve, and then I saw it for the first time. It was just wrong. It didn't look like anything other than a monster, and even then it didn't look right. Its body warped and uneven, its skin stretched over its body like it was on a wrong. I don't know what that is. There was no invisible mouth or eye holes, just depressions in the face where they should have been. It ran on all fours, but in zigzag and fast, and it just walked wrong. Sharp bones sticking out of random places, and it didn't look at me after that and I ran faster than I ever ran. It was gaining on me. I mean, this thing ran at like 30 miles per hour maybe, and I was just a kid. I couldn't hear anything in the world other than the leaves behind me crunching and my heartbeat. I got to the road and led I got to the road that led back to my house as a car drove by and I saw it crawl back up the hill in its weird zigzag, unpredictable pattern. My eyes couldn't stop staring at the tree line as I stayed in the opposite side of the road from where it was as I ran home until my legs were spasming and bruised. I'm not great at telling stories and I don't know why it left me alone, but I'm still so scared today that I've never gone on a walk alone since that day. The worst part is that I don't even know what it was. I don't know if it was a skinwalker, a Wendigo, I don't know, and I don't know if it's still hunting me or I have just gotten lucky so far. I promise this is real, and after this experience with this traumatizing creature, I've been completely invested into hearing these types of stories, and I understand the feeling that no one will believe you because of how crazy it sounds.
One, they say they're not good at telling stories, but I feel like they did a really good job painting the picture for me.
They did.
I could envision the forest. I could envision the log and the sun and the grass and
Mhm.
everything. I really could envision it. And the weird creature thing.
Yeah, I definitely
Um,
was picturing the clearing in Twilight
mhm.
whenever she saw him shimmer the first time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The
it was a good
creature
story.
it
Yeah,
was a
like
good story,
on
yeah.
the hill and seeing
Mhm.
it running. Yeah, as
And
far
like
as
I can only hear my breath and my heart and the leaves. Like I feel like
yeah,
I was really there. I feel like I was
yeah.
running.
No, it yeah. I was on the other side of the road watching it go back in.
Yeah, oof, that's so
That one
spooky.
is spooky.
When my parents moved a lot when I was a kid, and my there was one point where they lived in like a cabin situation, like literally like a log cabin basically, on this man's property. And this man owned like the cabin and he had several farm animals and a crap ton of property, but it was on a big hill. Like the house was on a hill. So the driveway went or like the path up to the house, I guess, like went like around the hill and down.
Okay.
And so there was this hill right here that we were on, but there was also, if you went like, I guess straight down the driveway a little bit, there's a hill facing this way. Like the curve goes around here, but there's a hill that way too. If you're listening, you're sorry. Sorry about that.
You need the visual.
Yeah. So there was a hill that way. And we would a lot of times like hike up there and like go all the way up it, which was kind of a hard hike for children, but there was always so many leaves. Like I always just remember there being so many leaves on the ground and like the crunch of that, and I was really picturing that hill and the crunch. And I would have I was always scared of being out there. I don't People who walk outside alone are brave, like in the like wilderness.
Yeah.
And like I would have never gone out there alone because there's animals, there's, bugs, there's all kinds of things you just don't feel equipped to take on as a child.
Yeah.
And I feel like
Especially,
I was always paranoid of the things I was hearing and seeing whenever I was out there, and that's what I was picturing.
I will say anything when you are like alone and it's like out, like the wilderness of it, I am just more paranoid because my grandparents, when I was growing up, they lived like far out in the country, I guess. And I would stay there most summers until I was like in middle school, maybe a little younger. But I would stay there most summers for like a few weeks at a time. And it was always so quiet and so loud at the same time. It was like eerie because it was quiet except for like the insects and like the whippoorwills or whatever they are and like the noises outside. But like it was so dark and like it's not like we live in big cities, but like they are normal cities, so like there's light pollution and all the other things, but it would get so dark and so quiet.
Terrifying.
It's like I just felt scared, and there was never anything that made me scared. I never saw anything or heard anything, but it was just like the paranoia of being in like a bigger house, and like I always had like my own room. It was just like dark and scary, and no one would ever hear me, like, or like if something happened to like me or my grandparents, like we would be alone, like their neighbors lived miles away. Like it was just scary.
I was terrified when I was at my grandparents' house growing up too, because they lived in a teeny tiny town. It's not the same in the sense that like they live on a road with other family members, so like it's like this big property and they all own like a chunk of the property. So like there were people, but it was the middle of like the town was the middle of nowhere. And so I was just so scared because there were like mountain lions and coyotes and all kinds of stuff. And yeah, like it was always silent. And like at night, like honestly, I didn't mind being there in the day because we were kids. So like we would like ride the 3-wheeler and like hang out outside and do whatever. But like at night, once the sun set, I was terrified to be there. Like it was,
I was just uncomfortable.
yes,
like it was just eerie.
It was eerie. Like it was pitch black because they didn't have they still, I think they maybe have like one light post, maybe. Like it is dark. Like whenever I visited the most recent, which was a couple years ago, I sent a picture to Adam and he was like, "Oh my gosh, that's scary."
Yeah.
I was like,
I don't
it's
do well
dark.
with I don't know. I know that there is beauty in the untouched, but that beauty exists in the daytime for me.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I'm cool after sunset.
Yeah.
I will go back to my
scary.
city where there's lights and people
and
hustle and the bustle.
Have you seen or heard any of the stuff like on TikTok, people who talk about like living in the mountains and how like if you hear whistling after the sun goes down, like no you didn't, like you pretend you don't hear it, because if you entertain the idea of hearing it, then it's like, I don't know, they have all these, folk stories and whatever and things, but they say that like if you live out there, all these stories and whatever. And so if you hear whistling outside your window at night, you and whoever you're with have to pretend you didn't hear it and just carry on normal conversation. Like, because if you do, then it's like it'll be like it's like entrance in or whatever, like you're inviting in or whatever. I don't know.
Oh
whatever.
my God, that's actually really terrifying.
Yeah, it's so scary.
Because I'd have such a hard time not reacting.
I agree. Yeah, no. I saw a TikTok video recently of the girl who was like, she heard it, and like her and whoever she was with, like they both heard it, and they like paused their conversation, and then they just jumped back into conversation because they had to like, you could tell that they were like scared, but they had to like pretend.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could probably do that, but I think I would pause.
Yeah, the pause.
Like,
yeah. Instead, but you can't be like, "What is that? Did you hear that?"
Yes,
like,
I guess. Oh God, that's terrifying.
Yeah, no. On a lighter note, less spooky note, there was a girl I went to elementary school with. This is just the story just made me think of it. Who was obsessed with Michael Jackson, and she was obsessed with Michael Jackson, and she was like, when we would go outside to recess, she would like point out into the trees and be like, "Do you see him?" Like,
oh my
in the trees.
Aww, that's actually really scary. What was happening at home that made her comfortable with that?
She was obsessed with him. I don't know, but she would always at recess, "Do you see him? Do you hear him? He's in the trees." Michael Jackson's in the trees. And I was freaked out.
So
I was like, "Girl,
scary,
what?"
yeah.
The first time she did it, I was like, "Huh?"
That's,
and then I just played along after that because you're a kid, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
She's weird.
So that's all we have for you guys today. We hope you enjoyed this special episode, this Halloween edition of the podcast.
We hope you guys enjoyed,
Yeah.
and we hope to see you next week. We're so glad you came this week.
Yes.
And if you enjoyed, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow, whatever you feel inclined to do, leave a review.
And we will see you next week.
Love ya. Bye.